Come, Dobby. We're leaving.
Some of the Harry Potter franchise's most memorable moments almost didn't happen, or at least they weren't planned. While filming the series, a few spur-of-the-moment additions were so good that they ended up in the final cut. And today on Collider, we're looking at the 5 moments in Harry Potter that you didn't know were unscripted.
The consequences for the one responsible would be severe.
Lucius Malfoy kicking Dobby, from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Jason Isaacs' wicked performance as Lucius Malfoy makes the character easy to hate, but one of his nastiest moments was actually unscripted. Many of Lucius's worst scenes come later in the story when he is doing Voldemort's bidding, but in an early appearance in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the character shows us everything we need to know about him. When Lucius meets with Dumbledore at the end of the film, he leaves his office unsatisfied, and in his anger, he kicks poor Dobby the house elf down the headmaster's stairs before whacking him with a cane. While this is the perfect example of Dobby's abuse at the hands of the Malfoys, director Chris Columbus didn't know what Isaacs was doing while they were shooting the scene, since Dobby was, of course, not actually there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you do, sir.
In Harry Potter 20th Anniversary Return to Hogwarts, Isaac says that he added the kick only for Columbus to call cut, believing the actor had slipped. However, Isaacs explained what he was doing and Columbus seemed to like it, so they kept the kick in the film. Fortunately, once Dobby was added to the scene, there was no more confusion about Lucius's actions. Isaacs calls the improv ridiculously good fun, and this example of Malfoy's cruelty to Dobby makes it all the more satisfying when Harry frees the house elf at the end of the movie.
Harry Potter freed Dobby. How can Dobby ever repay him?
The trio laughing after Harry kisses Cho, from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix brings the franchise into darker territory as the heroes grapple with Voldemort's recent return and have to defy the Ministry of Magic to oppose him.
Of course, there is someone who might be behind the attack.
Between that, the introduction of Dolores Umbridge, and the devastating death of Sirius Black, the 5th film gets a little heavy. However, a few light moments are mixed in, and one such storyline is Harry's budding romance with Cho Chang.
You're a really good teacher, Harry.
Though it has complications, Harry and Cho's flirtation provides a surprisingly normal plotline for the magical teens. They are awkward and unsure of each other, resulting in a less-than-perfect first kiss, which inspired a notable unscripted moment for the film.
I mean, she was sort of crying.
That bad at it, are you?
Following Harry's first kiss with Cho Chang, Harry, Ron, and Hermione discuss it in a rare moment of non-life-threatening bonding for the friends. Harry explains that Cho was crying during the kiss, which neither he nor Ron can understand, but Hermione explains all the factors that could be confusing for Cho. This information was too important to be ignored entirely by the scriptwriter, but the scene was meant to end with the memorable line,
Just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon.
However, after saying it, Watson broke out in laughter, and Radcliffe and Grint joined her. The moment was kept for the final cut, giving the characters a humanizing moment. The laughter shows the characters as the children they are, giggling at the topic of their friend's kiss.
I'm sure Harry's kissing was more than satisfactory.
Bellatrix torturing Hermione, from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Believe it or not, one of the most brutal scenes in the franchise was also partially improvised. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, during their hunt for Horcruxes, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are taken prisoner and brought to Malfoy Manor. While there, Bellatrix Lestrange recognizes the Sword of Gryffindor, which she believes was safe in her Gringotts vault.
Where'd you get that from?
It was in her bag when we searched her. Reckon it's mine now.
Accusing the trio of stealing from her, Bellatrix is concerned about what else they might have taken, and chooses to get the information out of Hermione by whatever means necessary.
I want to have a little conversation with this one. Girl to girl.
In the film, Hermione screams as Bellatrix tortures her and even carves the word mudblood into her arm. The sequence is short, but it is one of Bellatrix's most horrific moments. Not only is the scene difficult to watch, but during filming, the crew got emotional listening to Emma Watson's screams, which was made worse by the fact that they didn't fully know what was coming. Director David Yates explained in an interview with Fandango that Watson was intent on getting the moment right. As such, Yates chose not to shoot it like a normal scene, but instead, he let the camera roll for a few minutes, allowing the two actresses some freedom as they built the intense interaction. Bonham Carter and Watson knew what needed to be done, and at one point Yates even called cut because he felt it was getting too intense, saying the screams were quite horrible to listen to. The result speaks for itself, even though only about a minute of the several that they filmed made it into the final cut. It may not have been a fun improvised scene to shoot, but the moment stands out in the film, with both performances being particularly impressive.
Stupid elf! You could have killed me! Dobby never meant to kill.
Voldemort's victory speech, from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Bellatrix wasn't the only villain to improvise, and Ralph Fiennes went off script in one of Voldemort's biggest scenes. Near the end of the Battle of Hogwarts in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Voldemort tries to force his enemies to surrender, believing he has killed Harry.
Harry Potter is dead!
The battle is delayed while Voldemort shows off Harry's body, destroying the hope of the wizards opposing him and taunting Neville Longbottom, who steps forward to challenge him. While the speech is incredibly intense, some improvisation from the Dark Lord himself made it even more so for the rest of the cast. In the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 bonus feature Neville's Stand, Jason Isaacs describes the filming of the scene, in which Fiennes would give different versions of the speech saying, Rafe was let loose and he was utterly terrifying. The scene took weeks to shoot, but Fiennes kept it interesting by focusing on different characters for each take. According to Isaacs, the unpredictability kept everyone on their toes. Considering Voldemort is supposed to have a captive audience, it worked well. Switching up his lines not only kept Voldemort as the center of attention throughout the shoot, but also helped his co-stars stay in character, particularly Matthew Lewis, who interacts with him most in this scene. Lewis recalls that Voldemort's insults made him actually angry with the character, which was helpful while filming. Though they had to pick and choose what would make the final cut, the result was a powerful scene, and Fiennes' improv had an important role in creating that.
You're actually giving us permission to do this?
That is correct, Longbottom.
Voldemort hugging Draco, from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Another iconic Voldemort moment that was all thanks to Fiennes was the awkward hug he gives Draco Malfoy in the same scene in Deathly Hallows.
Draco.
When Voldemort calls for people to join him, Draco is the first to walk over. However, before he gets there, Voldemort stops him and wraps his arms around him. The moment has been described as both hilarious and chilling, but either way, it was not in the script. Not only is it one of the many things Fiennes added, but the hug between Voldemort and Draco surprised even Tom Felton, who was on the receiving end. The actor wrote in his memoir, Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard, that they filmed that moment at least 30 times without the hug. Then in one take, Fiennes stopped Felton and incorporated the awkward embrace. It's a terrifying moment for Draco, who is not as dedicated to Voldemort as Harry and his friends believe, but Felton describes it as awkward. However, given that the young star was just as surprised by the hug as his character was, his confusion worked for the scene. In the end, the moment adds a few horrifying seconds to the already tension-filled climax and becomes one of the most memorable moments in the film.
It doesn't seem curious at all. I'll be going now, Harry.
So, did you know these Harry Potter scenes were unscripted? And are there any magical moments we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned to Collider, where we'll continue to bring you behind the scenes of the wizarding world.